Hello and welcome back to HCS Weekly.
I thought, yo, this is my life. I have to go pro in Halo.
In my head, thought that was more efficient, and I guess I was right.
He was like the god. We would have to 2v1 like just to beat this guy. Like
I don't know, man. I was trying to reach you. You're like, oh, see you guys later.
A lot of Halo in my life, man. It's been a fun journey.
I love it.
I was just typing cry in the chat.
Hello and welcome back to HCS Weekly, your weekly destination for all things HCS. I'm your host, ShyWay, and we are back with our news, our trick jumps, our interviews for the week. Tons of exciting stuff in Halo. And of course, Halo Reach on PC, the first flight is now finished. We've got content all over the internet. You guys can check out what Halo Reach looks like. And of course, the 90 field of view, I'd say, is probably one of the biggest, most exciting things so far. It looks pretty damn awesome. We're going to talk about it very soon in the news. But before we jump in, remember, guys, we have our giveaway for the episode. We have the exclamation mark grassroots that you type in the chat below. You can enter yourself into this giveaway for the BR skin and nameplate. So just do that now, guys. You can do it throughout the entire show. I think we have one skin that we're giving away. So don't be salty if you don't get it. Let it be a good battle out there in the chat. Let's jump right into our news with MattyRums from DudeCombo.com. How's it going, Matty?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Not much, man. Do you ever like have any kind of prep, like pre HCS Weekly prep that you do to kind of like get yourself in the headspace, get psyched up?
No, not really.
No, you just kind of come in.
Yeah, pretty much. Once I type it out, like what we're gonna talk about, then that's really it.
Maybe that's just a me thing because I gotta, I have all this stuff I'm trying to prepare. But what I do is I try to like wake myself up by drinking this like it's like G Fuel. Yeah. Anyway, I was so tired before this episode. I was like yawning constantly, so I had 2 of them, and now my heart is just beating at like 10 miles a minute. So it's going to be a fun time. I'm going to let you kick off the news breakdown, of course, though. We've got MCC development updates.
So, they've been posting, I think it was monthly updates on MCC as far as the progress on PC. Yeah. But this week, the things that I thought were notable were that they're holding a one-time only copy of Forge maps and game types from Halo 3, Halo 4, and Halo Reach, right? And to bring them to MCC. Right. So what that pretty much means is if you ever have a map that you saved on Halo 3, 4, or Reach from your Xbox 360, it's going to copy automatically to MCC so you'll be able to play your games again. Yeah.
Real quick, Matty, sorry to interrupt you. We're going to go back on that because that's actually a huge point. Joe, if you're there in the background, I didn't even mention it, guys. Of course, we have Joe Fries joining us on the show today, and his mic was coming through there in the background, so I think we got him to mute it. We're going to be inviting him on the show very soon to chat about all these awesome things in Halo. And yeah, this is actually huge news right here. That the fact that you can bring your game type, your forged maps and game types over to MCC now, which is kind of unreal that they're still trying to implement this. So this is from your Xbox 360 to Xbox One and to PC when it comes out on PC, right?
Right. So anything that was in your file share. Right. So if you still have your 360 and there's some stuff you want to be transferred over, they encourage doing it as soon as possible because they don't know exactly when they're going to do it. Yeah. So they're saying just do it as soon as possible. But it's going to take place over 2 days. One day they're going to copy all the maps, and then the next day or the second day they're going to copy over all the game types.
Yeah, which is pretty incredible. I guess
it's pretty awesome.
I don't really know how that works exactly, but there's a 2-day period coming up in the future. So guys, get ready now. Go on your Xbox 360, put all your favorite maps and game types on your file share so that when this 2-day window comes up, they're just going to pull your game type off for every single Xbox gamer tag. Apparently, they're going to pull all of that off the file. Yeah, across Xbox.
Only maps and game types. So your clips, films, and screenshots or anything won't be copied, or anything you have like stored on an external hard drive or anything. It's only if it was on your file share.
Yeah. And that's huge because I think one of the worries kind of porting these games over to PC is will we have all of this amazing creative content that we had in Forge back in the day to know that we can have that day one? Which is what I'm hoping is just like day one, we get on the game, we've got all of our old Forge content. That's insane. Like you think of the content creators who want to get right into Halo and have a good time, they can go right back to the golden days of Halo and play the craziest custom games on their live stream, whatever it is. So I think that's huge for content creation. That's going to be really exciting.
Well, yeah, as far as when it's available, it'll be available on MCC once the game is released on PC.
Okay.
So your Halo 3 maps won't be available for on Halo 3 MCC Xbox, but it will become available once Halo 3 launches on PC.
Yeah, and there is one stipulation for getting the maps on PC, as far as if you're an Xbox 360 owner, right? You said you had to sign into an Xbox One for it to actually work. How does that? What's the process?
Everything will be copied and I guess downloaded, onto Microsoft storage. And in order to access it, you're gonna have to log into Xbox Live from an Xbox.
Okay.
So you'll be able, and once you do that, it'll be transferred over even to PC. But you have to log in from an Xbox. You can't log into MCC on PC and get your files. Only from an Xbox.
So a little bit elaborate, but basically you don't have to buy an Xbox One. You could ask a buddy, and then he could sign in on an Xbox One for you and just establish everything so that when you are on PC, the game types maps do transfer over. So a little bit of an extra step if you're not currently an Xbox One owner, but still great to see that the option's there. We also have the latest build of Reach playable at Halo Outpost Discovery. Apparently, what's this?
Yeah, so if Halo Outpost Discovery is coming up, and they said that whatever the latest build of Insider will be at the time, you'll be able to play it at the event.
Right.
So we were saying before, right now it's just the tip of the spear campaign mission from Reach, but they also mentioned that they plan on the second flight being Firefight. So maybe if that's out at the time, you'll be able to play it, which would be pretty cool.
They really have us waiting with like bated breath for the actual multiplayer, like competitive multiplayer. They're going to put it in last, I bet. They give us one campaign mission, Firefight, like
one step at a time.
Yeah, one step at a time. We've got Reach progress unlocks and seasons, and this is great for having just people returning to play the game on a regular basis. What's this?
Yeah, they elaborated a little more on what it's going to be. So each season will feature a unique theme, playlist, and mode, and the rewards will be a set of unlockables for that season. The unlockables will either be armor, firefight voices, armor effects, or profile items like nameplates. And you can unlock them by spending seasonal points.
Right.
And the way to get seasonal points is by gaining XP and leveling up your profile, which you can do only through multiplayer, like matchmaking multiplayer and firefight mode.
Okay.
It's only anything from dedicated servers.
Right.
But the cool thing is when a new season begins, you'll be able to choose to, I guess, stay on the previous season and unlock everything from the previous season and then move on afterwards. Okay. So they said they don't want anything to be lost. They want everyone to be able to, get the rewards when they want. Okay.
And the stuff that you're unlocking is, I guess, this isn't new armor or voices. This is stuff that I'm assuming was previously in the game. They just added a new, interesting way to get you to unlock it now?
I mean, there's an interview, I forget what his name was, I have it written on the site, but he does mention that they are looking into like new things like new colors and things like that.
Wow, okay.
So, and they also mentioned that they're looking into how to do additional content for other MCC titles.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
Imagine having like skins and stuff in Halo 3. Like maybe I'm just wishing too much, but like actually changing things like that in a game that old now would be pretty incredible to just still see that kind of innovation. But yeah, that's cool. So seasons and these seasons will continue to update, but even if you kind of sleep on Halo for a little bit and you come back, you can still unlock those previous unlocks available from the past seasons, or you can get the stuff for the new season. You're not really missing anything by stepping away, which is great. So we have crossplay as well. What's this?
They took a few questions from the community and answered them. One of them was about crossplay. And they said they're planning on crossplay between the Windows Store and Steam to be available at launch, and then crossplay between console and PC. They said they're still going to look at it, but not until after the PC is launched.
Okay. So we still don't know just yet there. Between PC, yeah, that's fine. Like Windows and Steam, yeah.
They were all expecting that.
Right. That's the easy one to answer. Flight 2 is planned for Firefight. All right, we know that. And then all the news here, HaloWaypoint.com. Of course, all that's also linked on NoobCombo.com, so you guys can check out Noob Combo. You've got all these details here and the associated links. We have more updates, especially for the HCS Grassroots program. The Beachland has joined us now.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a surprise announcement. but one that's well deserved. In my opinion, if you think of grassroots, Beachland is like the epitome of it. It's pretty much like a big gathering they have every year of the best Halo Combat Evolved players that they hold in Tampa, Florida. The main tournament is 2v2, and there's usually about 50 plus players that make it there.
Right.
So I'm a fan of Halo C, so even if you're not, I recommend watching it because the guys are just like insane.
It's a totally different game when you watch it
yeah.
on that level. Yeah, it's literally not what you would expect, guys. I highly recommend if you don't watch a lot of Halo CE, go back and watch these 2v2s. It's elaborate, man. The kind of angles and stuff they're doing, banking nades to launch weapons across the map. It's pretty nuts to watch.
But yeah, so this year's tournament is the 8th installment, and it takes place on August 10th through the 17th. And there's even a $1,200 prize pool this time, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. It's great to see the support for Beachland. Like you said, very grassroots initiative as is, so it just makes perfect sense to add them to the HCS grassroots community. And yeah, they just continue to add some awesome components of our community to this bigger picture. We can give them a bigger platform to continue to grow and prepare themselves for all the MCC and Infinite and stuff we got in the future. UGC has a big announcement as well, which is exciting to see. What do we got?
Yeah, so the Halo Classic is returning, but this time it's in Atlantic City, which I'm especially excited for because I'm from New Jersey, so I can't wait.
You're like 2 hours away, right?
Oh, yeah. There's no way I will not be there. Been waiting for a Northeast Halo event for a long time, so I'm very excited. But it's a Halo 344. It's going to take place at Bally's Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. $50,000 prize pool, and you can get tickets right now at ugchalo.com. Spectator tickets are $40. VIP tickets are $100. That includes premium seats, VIP lounge access, custom badge, and a merch pack. And if you're a team looking to compete, right now they have the early bird pricing, which is $175 for a team, and that includes 4 players and a coach.
I mean, Halo Classic was a great way to kick off the year, of course. A lot of buzz with that on Twitter, and right now there's a lot of buzz as well. I don't know if you checked any of the comments on the tweet. I think I saw Moses in there. He seemed to be really excited about it, and I think
me and him been talking about we've mentioned to each other like how much we want something back.
Is he going to go? Do you know?
I think he would. I don't see why he wouldn't.
We had a Moses face reveal comment in the chat from UGC. It's like we might get to see Moses for real this time. This is a big deal. So a lot of big players are going to be in this tournament. It's going to be really exciting for sure. So apart from that, we also have tournament results across Halo locally, or I mean, just on a smaller scale at least. What's Nade Straight's H5 FFA Frenzy?
It was a EU only. Yeah, it was a EU only tournament. Halo 5 free for all. And first place went to Legends, second place was Lundy, and third was Psyche. I think it's Psyche. But not to be confused with Europa Halo's FFA Frenzy. It's just a coincidence they both at like the same time named it the same thing. But
is this brand new? Has Nade Straight ever done something like this before?
He's hosted some tournaments in the past, yeah. I think they were all Halo 5 tournaments, but he's held a few things in the past before.
Awesome. It's great to see more of that. And that's for the European community?
Yeah.
So great to see. We also have SWAT Nation, Hot and Poundy's Rampage 3v3. What's this?
Yeah, it was another random 3v3 tournament. First place was Cheap Sunglasses, which was Apollo 9, Nathberger, and Triant. Second place was Foolin', which featured NWK, Caboose, and Savage Cat. Third place was Summer Nights with Kakashi, It's Prometheum, and Chunk to Deuce.
Is this a Halo 3 SWAT? Or sorry,
no,
Hot and Poundy, it's got to be Halo 5.
Yeah, it was Halo 5. The Halo 3 SWAT tournament is at the end of this month, I believe. The next one is SWAT Dependence, which is Halo 5. But the one after that is Halo 3.
The $1,000 Halo 3 SWAT tournament coming up, so that's going to be exciting as well. So even in the meantime, they've got all these events going on just to keep us satiated. It's great to see, man. SWAT Nation putting in a lot of work. I wouldn't be surprised if they're kind of next on the board as far as the grassroots decisions there, if they just keep doing what they're doing. So Philly Esports, Summer Slayer, this is happening as well.
Yeah, this was a LAN event that happened in Philadelphia at the University City Science Center, University Science Center, something like that.
Sure.
But I couldn't find team rosters, but I did see a few like familiar names. But first place went to Darkest Hour, second place was Guardians Gaming, and third was FXBG Sense of Being. But I saw people like Queen was there, Jesse Sao, I don't know how to say it, Sao.
A lot of callback team names here with the Believe the Hype and Darkest Hour.
Demon D was there too, so it was a few familiar faces showed up.
All right, so that sounds like a really great event as well. Hopefully, is Philly Esports have anything else planned?
Not that I know of. It looked like it was a decent turnout, so hopefully they plan something else because they do a variety of games.
Right. And keeping up with the usual trend, we have our events this week as well. What do we got?
Saturday, July 6th, SWAT Nation, as we mentioned, is their SWAT Dependence 4v4. It's a $500 tournament. Sunday, July 7th is Europa Halos FFA Frenzy. And also Sunday is Female Pro League's Halo 5 4v4.
So events on a regular basis. We've got the first flight for Halo Reach on PC. We've got information now on the fact that you can port all your Forge maps and game types over to MCC PC. So a lot of good stuff here in our news roundup. Matty, thank you for joining me once again. And guys, always make sure to check out noobcombo.com. All the information is there with the associated links. You guys can get all those details and stay informed. Thank you, Matty, for joining me.
Yep. See you next week.
No problem. That closes our news. Let's get right into the trick jump. ClearlyMe has some insane trick jumps in the form of a montage today. I'm excited to take a look. How's it going, man?
Oh, man, it's going pretty good. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I already know what you have here. Are we looking at the whole montage, or are we looking at what do you want to do?
Yeah. Oh, we're doing the whole montage. I guess that's what Tony said that he wanted to do. So we're gonna do the whole shebang, I guess.
Let's kick it off.
All right. Oh, we kind of started in the middle here at the beginning. I don't know if we can play back at the beginning there, break it down.
What was the?
It was a cone redirect rubble to the top of. I don't know what you would call it exactly, but the little vent fan thing that's on top of Rat's Nest. But I throw a spike grenade behind the cone and a frag under it to redirect and hammer to the top of the fan there. And that's the start of the video.
Right.
And then it kicks into narrows here in just a second. And this one's simple to follow, but I do a little icicle jump over to here, which is quite a distance. A lot of people have tried it over the years and couldn't make it and just kind of deemed it as too far away. And this one, God.
Yeah, so these are all really insane. Like each one of them, I feel like you got to kind of pause and go back, right? Like
this
even
one, we're definitely
like this one needs a pause.
Yeah, we're gonna need a pause for this one. So this one took me over 132 hours to do.
What?
So I'm hitting a edge bounce here, and then hitting a slide jump here to an over ghost, and carrying my momentum all the way over to. Yeah, man, it's literally insane.
You jumped off nothing on, like, if you look at it in third person, it's going to play in third person?
No, I only do a first person shot in this.
Oh, it's only first person? Okay.
Yeah, on that one. This one's another over ghost on blackout, super hard to hit there. And then this one's just a simple slide jump on longshore to a juggle here to the top of the light.
See, the slide jumps make sense to me. The over ghost, though, is nuts because you're not, like, from what you can see in the third person, you're not jumping on anything. It's something to do with your head bumping the roof.
Yeah, so basically the way the game works is when you have a flat and curved surface that meet, basically if you can jump and smack your head where those 2 points meet, you can momentarily run and jump off of it. And there's different techniques. It's technically called over ghosting. When you use the crouch button to achieve those. But when you just jump and when you smack your head and just simply mash the jump button, it's considered just an edge ghost. It gets confusing. There's a lot of subgroups to edge ghosting.
Okay, this one we want multiple plays, Tony.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, watch the little jump that you do, that one under the door right there. To get on top, there's some crazy shit going on underneath that door frame. So kind of break this down.
Okay, so I get up the top glass. in a fancy manner. There's a way easier way to get up there, but I'm walking off, hitting an edge bounce, hitting a slide, and then hitting an over ghost. I tap crouch right there on that where the flat and curved surface meet on that little ledge, and I'm jumping off of it and carrying my momentum upwards to that top ledge. Which, by the way, no one's ever gotten up to the spot before unaided. They've always used power drains, brute shots, grenades, and no one's just gotten up there using the jump button before. So that was one of my favorite jumps I've ever done, for sure.
Right. This jump, like you said, has never been achieved. This was the secret insane jump that you were kind of alluding to before, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So big challenge request out there. If anybody can match this, because I think you're unmatched. And I know you're gonna continue to hit crazy jumps to try to even beat this one yourself.
Oh yeah.
But,
I'm gonna continue.
Damn, dude.
Sure. But yeah, edge bounce slide to over ghost. It sounds simple, and it kind of looks like if you were to try it, you might get lucky. But that height right there, where that edge ghost is, to where I landed, is insanely high. Even when you stack up crates and set it up to make it so that it's super easy to hit that edge ghost, you very rarely even get the height to get up there, let alone hit an edge bounce to slide into it. And yeah,
right.
It was
So
really difficult.
yeah. And of course, there's a lot more to this that we can't really explain in this this short format. So where can people go? How can they get involved in this community and start learning these jumps?
So I created a Discord. It's completely dedicated to the trick jumping community. You can post requests for tutorials, and I have a bunch of other OG players in there that can help you and be more than happy to do so.
Yeah.
I will be posting a link to that Discord server on Twitch and on Mixer for you guys. So anybody who wants to join, you are more than welcome to. You can find me on Twitter at MCC Trick Jumps, as well as YouTube at MCC Trick Jumps. I post tutorials, montages, as you guys seen. My latest montage there. But yeah, again, I will post those links after my segment is over. So if you guys want to join, please feel free to do so.
Right. At MCC Trick Jumps is a good place to start. You've got the YouTube, you've got the Discord associated. You just recently posted the video on your Twitter as well. You guys can give that a nice retweet. Pretty insane video, some jumps that have never really been seen before in Halo 3, and you continue to kind of break the meta here. So excited to see more stuff that you have to bring. Halo Reach is getting ever closer. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you got for Halo Reach, man. I hope have you been practicing anything in the background? Of course, Halo Reach probably feels totally different for an Xbox 360 to what they're bringing out.
Yeah. Honestly, I never, even at Reach's peak, I never got into too much trick jumping on Reach, to be completely honest. Ooh. But I will definitely be getting into it just so I have some new content to post. And I know a lot of people will be jumping on Reach and will be wanting to see Reach content. So I'll dive in. I'll dive in. Yeah.
Well, looking forward to seeing what you have in store, man. Thank you for joining me once again.
Thanks, man. You take it easy.
No problem. That closes our news and trick jump for the week. I'm excited to bring our guest on for today's episode, Joe Fries, to break down Halo, the greatest Halo of all time, and can Halo make a comeback? How's it going, Joe?
What's up, man? Just hope we can have as legendary a conversation as last time.
Yeah, man, honestly. Okay, well, last time it was a bit of like an extensive, we were arguing a bit. We had a good back and forth. I'm down to argue if we get to the opportunity to, but I'm just trying to build a fun kind of, I don't even know what I'm saying here. Let's argue. Let's get into it. Let's break it down. I actually wanted to start off by saying just how you been, man. You've got, what's the steroids on your shirt? What are you making
Yeah, this is one of my homies. It's a local Indianapolis rapper, Flacco, represented by my homie Tyler Hoyt, the guy that did the original Status Quo logo.
Okay.
He's involved in the project. This is just one of his shirts, so I bought it. I was rocking it. I thought it was cool. Just says steroids on it. I wear it to the gym. I don't go to the gym, but if I did, I would wear it to the gym. Right.
This makes a statement. It's not, you're not beating around the bush. This is it, man. Steroids. That's how you get this physique. You've got other things going on as well. You got Astro posting these lovely photos of you on Twitter with the brand new A50 headset. How'd you get this hookup?
Years of poking around in the industry, you end up landing some of these gigs. Unfortunately, I had to take my nail polish off for that one, and I haven't Haven't gotten it redone since, so my nails are a little bare. It's really unfortunate. Got to get the rose gold drip going again.
Yeah, and I mean, I love some of the style stuff you've been doing, but just a question, just for maybe even my personal interest, have you used the A50s at all, or did you just kind of show them off?
Well, as a member of Evil
Razor
Geniuses, we are sponsored by Razer, so of all Razer products. But at home, I do sometimes use the A50s. They're, I mean, we were Astro through and through forever for Halo and MLG, so like that's what I'm comfortable with. That's what I played. Like most of my gaming hours in a headset have been done in A40s and A50s, like 100%.
Yeah, I'm wondering if I should do the upgrade from the A40 right now, because I've had those for like 4 years. I like it. I think the mix amp's just my favorite part, though, and I feel like I could just swap out the headset and keep the mix amp.
I mean, if you don't play competitively, I would definitely recommend the A50s, man. The wireless capabilities, like I could be when I was at home, I could be anywhere in my house and still be like, you can get up and go to the bathroom. You don't have to take your headset off ever.
Yeah,
it's just really nice. It's really it's really convenient, man. They make a great product, and like the toggle controls on the side are really nice too.
Sounds sick. Now, of course, you talked about the nail polish. I know you're always very stylish as well. We got a photo of you on Twitter repping this awesome getup here. It looks like every little piece of this outfit is planned. Like there's this white line on the bottom of your shirt. Is that part of your shirt, or is that you like? Okay, that's part of the shirt. I was gonna say. Yeah. Where do you get the inspiration from for this stuff? You just kind of come up with it?
Actually, I got to give a big shout out to my friend and stylist Michael Favia.
You have a personal stylist?
Again, you get these relationships going. That was actually a friendship formed from Flamesword doing his GQ shoot at my house.
Okay.
That guy was there, and we just got to talking, and we're good friends now. We talk all the time. But I went shopping with him, and that's like a full top man, like we called it a bootleg Tom Ford look. And then I got the Louis Vuitton acetate frames on up there. It's the tops from Top Man, the pants are from Top Man, and then the vegan Doc Marten cherry reds, the cherry red joints. Those are clean too. And the bag is a Benny Gold bag, but they don't make Benny Gold shuttered his shop, so you can't even get that bag anymore. It's an exclusive, Joe Fries only. And then the pink bootleg Konkin backpack that I got from Thailand for like $10 instead of like $50 if you were to buy it retail.
That just completes it all, right?
Yeah. You got it tied together with the little pink backpack.
Man, looking fly. Let's talk about Halo, because this is all distraction from the main objective here. We've got MCC PC, of course, is they had their recent flight, and Tony, you can throw up some gameplay in the background for us to take a look at. Of course, I think it was like 1,000 or less than 1,000 people that had access to it. We've got Vint Blitz here. A lot of content creators got to try it out. Have you seen any of this so far? What do you think?
It looks fast on PC, man. Like it looks really fast. And I was talking to Dursky the other day. Not going to talk too much about what we were talking about. I don't think he said anything like NDA breaking, but he just said that it went really well, and there's a lot of positive feedback, and like they're really looking forward to bringing the game to PC, and like it looks awesome, and like some of the stuff that you could see from like the game being on the Unreal Engine, super cool, so detailed, like everything looks amazing. And when they start bringing like the other games or whatever to the PC as well, it's going to be so cool. I'm very much looking forward to playing Halo 1, Halo 2, maybe Halo 3, probably not, but Halo 1 and Halo 2 for sure.
Do you play a lot of PC yourself?
I have the most gaming that I've been doing recently has been done on PC. I have a Switch, and I like it, but there haven't been that many games that have grabbed my attention. I played a little bit of Smash for a while, but a lot of just like Fortnite or like Apex sometimes with my friends. Like people drag me into different games, but I feel like my future now is on PC, even though I'm terrible. Like, I'm so much better with a controller in my hand. I just everybody else is on PC, so it's tough. It's tough to drag everybody back to console.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, having Halo come back to PC, I feel like that's an area where you might feel right at home, though, right? Because it just brings it back to what you know and love from console. And now, I mean, yeah, you're attempting it on mouse and keyboard. It might not be as comfortable there, but the rules of Halo stay the same, regardless of whether you're playing on PC or playing on controller. So what do you think, though, that this PC support means for the Halo franchise? I think that's one of the biggest things. It's like, we have it on PC. We haven't seen much yet, just a little snippet of the campaign. But just the fact that it's starting to roll out, and I mean, we have the Steam wish list as well that just showcases the fact that a lot of people are looking forward to this. Tony, there's a screenshot that you have of it as well. This looks pretty exciting as far as just what it could do for the Halo community in the near future. What do you think?
It's exciting, man. It's exciting. It's an exciting time for Halo. For the entire life of the franchise, this game has been an Xbox exclusive, and we're finally going to see, whether it's too late or not, we're finally going to see what the real audience for Halo is like now that we have it on Steam and on PC. Like, getting a game on Steam Steam is a massive, massive platform. Like, yeah. You can tell just by those wish list requests, like, it's gonna do wonders for the community. I'm excited for what it's gonna do for the community, and it's just I think it's the first step in bringing the franchise back. There's a long road, yeah, but one of them was, expanding. You could see with the success of Fortnite and all these other multi-platform free-to-play games. That's another thing that you're gonna have to compete against is free-to-play games. Like, the game already costs money, and then it's only on one console. You have to buy that singular console. Like, it's too much. So bringing it to the masses is gonna do a lot for the game. Hopefully, that plus some other things is enough to bring it back to its former glory. But it's a story that we're seeing written in front of us, which is exciting.
Yeah. So, like you said, accessibility, that's huge. Just more people being able to access it, and large, very important, popular individuals on the internet are going to be playing it as well. So even if, let's say, worst case scenario, it's not well received, it's still going to get that initial explosion of viewership on those first, couple weeks that it's out. And hopefully that turns into something, beautiful for Halo going forward. But one of the biggest things as well is just the amount of feedback that we're going to get as a result. So you said it's part of like a greater course correction for 343 with Halo. It kind of rights some, not necessarily wrongs, but it kind of puts them on the right path forward. And then like big, content creators and people who are very passionate about Halo are suddenly giving a lot more feedback to the game. 343 can take all of that into consideration, hopefully implement that in Halo Infinite, which would be really exciting. So Halo Infinite, of course, is the next thing on the horizon. The only thing that we have to go on so far is the Discover Hope trailer. I've shown this with the last 4 people I've interviewed. We don't really have too much we can watch, so we just kind of continue to play the same beautiful looking Master Chief over and over. What do you think of what we've seen so far for Halo Infinite?
I mean, it's the classic. I mean, I called this very early on last E3 when all they showed was that one cinematic with Chief in the helmet, and not even Chief in the helmet. It was like Chief's left leg. Yeah, and a little bit of his left wrist in his helmet. I was like, okay, we're not going to get a game or gameplay for at least 2 years. Like, they're 2 to 3, maybe 3, probably 3 years out on this project. Like, they don't have anything to show. That's really clear. If they did, they would have showed it. And now we get another cinematic trailer, no gameplay yet. I feel like we all kind of know where they're at in the process. I may be talking out of my ass, but we got the holiday 2020 announcement, and it was bang on with my prediction. It was 3 years out from E3, and it's 2.5 years from last E3, right?
Yeah.
So,
Do you think there's really any, like, 'cause yes, it's disappointing that we didn't get to see gameplay, but do you think in some way there's kind of an advantage that they just showed the trailer? Because what if they showed gameplay? Do you think that it could, be the result of, it depends on what they show, right? Because if they show gameplay and there was like one ability in that gameplay, like he starts sprinting or something, I feel like that becomes this long discussion and a back and forth on the internet, and then they may not have the resources to, to show more during
but
that
wouldn't
time
you want
frame.
that feedback early on?
Right. Yeah.
You'd want to hear that from the fans pretty early, rather than, now the schedule is going to be like next E3, we're going to have like the big reveal. And then we're also going to have a beta, presumably, at some point. So those two things are almost going to be going on at like the same time.
Yeah.
E3 is probably going to announce the beta, and then we're going to go beta almost straight into the game.
Yeah, now that you say it that way. Which
think about
the way
the timeline. Like the game's going to release in like November, probably. E3's in June. They're going to run like probably a 2-month-ish beta, maybe, hopefully. I don't know. Depends on like the completion state of the game. I'm sure it'll be like mostly done, if not completely done, but you never know.
Yeah.
And then you just, I don't know. That's gonna be it. Of small tweaks, surely, but like that's it.
Right. Depending on how close the beta is to release date, that is a little scary, right? Because a lot of things are going to be locked in. If what I was hoping they would do is just kind of show gameplay during the holiday. They usually have some sort of an event. It's not E3, but there's some sort of a big event, like November or December, like a conference of some sort. I don't know what I'm thinking it is. Like maybe it's Game Awards or something around that time. But if they can somehow release a beta early next year, would be way better, right? So we have way more time for that feedback to go through and make necessary changes. But you're right. If they show gameplay for the first time next year, E3, and then have a beta following, it just seems like a scary situation. They're doing it with Gears right now.
I think, in all honesty, once a beta comes out, I think it's way too late for wholesale changes. Like they're not going to change. They're not going to be adding weapons or changing the way that movement happens inside the game. Like all that stuff's going to be well locked in. Like you need to catch that like now to make any significant impact on what it's going to look like later. Like they're already testing multiplayer, surely.
Yeah.
There's more done with the game than they're leading on with that trailer. Like obviously there's some sort of gameplay that's playable, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And there's, campaign, like lots of stuff's done. They just didn't want to show it right now.
Right. Halo 5 actually did have a beta a lot earlier than the release of the game, though, right? I think it was the winter, and then they released the game the following year holiday. But there wasn't any substantial change between the beta and the final game, like you're saying. What they had, you pretty much got, like on the release day, just better graphics, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot to kind of ponder, and that's why I want to take a look at the past successes of Halo and today's modern kind of gaming industry, and try to answer this question. Actually, no. Before we get to the question, let's get your kind of impressions on Halo going into it. What do you think is the greatest Halo of all time? First off,
I think,
and there might
honestly,
be a bit
it's a super complicated question to answer. Like, I think it has. And not to be like lame and cop out, but I really think that it has multiple answers. I think that it could be one of 2, maybe 3 different games for a multitude of reasons. Like, obviously, for me, Halo 1 being my favorite title in the series, but Halo 1, for so many reasons, people forget, laid the groundwork for console FPS, and like a lot of what FPS looks like in a multiplayer landscape today. Like a lot of the things that they did had never been done before. Like you never saw System Link on a console before. That was the first game that used System Link multiplayer.
Yeah.
And the fact that the multiplayer almost didn't even make it into the game.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It was still incredible.
Yeah, I mean, the core mechanics were amazing. The graphics were like mind blowing for the time. It did everything right that it could at the time, and laid the groundwork for not only the franchise, but for, like I said, first person shooters in general on the console for years to come. And then Halo 2 also for more obvious reasons, probably for people watching this, like the quintessential Xbox Live experience, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like that game defined Xbox Live. Everyone played that game, and that was a lot of people's first, not only their first FPS experience online, but their first online gaming experience. I know like Wolfenstein was another FPS that came out before Halo 2, but that was a lot of people's first time. And like the ranking system, like chat, the clan system,
Right.
proximity chat, like talking trash in lobbies, just so many things. The gunplay when it was released wasn't amazing, but the patch helped tremendously. And then, you end up with amazing core mechanics, amazing button glitches and stuff like that. Like just an unbelievable title that also like had its like defining moment. And then Halo 3, for a lot of reasons that people don't talk about, and a lot of the things that I'm about to mention were actually brought up in the Courage and Nade Shot podcast. Shout out to the homies. Jack was talking about like the game launched with a Forge mode, like ranking system was okay, but it did have a ranking system. The social system, you had separate playlists for social and ranked, like that wasn't really done before. The theater system, theater in a game,
incredible.
Like you go back and watch your gameplay on console.
Ahead of its time.
Theater Forge, the file sharing system that they mentioned, crazy, unprecedented stuff. Like you could upload your own game types, and then other people could go on your profile and download those game types. Like, when had that ever been done before? It was crazy.
Yeah.
So like all of these three really like had, in my opinion, have a shot for like the title of the best. I don't think it's fair to award any of them the best because they all were in such different time periods in gaming. Yeah. Like Halo 3 also was at like the peak of Halo fandom. Like it's riding off the success of Halo 2, and you have now everyone knows about Halo. Everyone's talking about Halo. Like Tim said, there isn't anybody that you talk to that was like, Halo? Nah, I don't play that. Like everybody played Halo.
Yeah.
And it was just this massive phenomenon. And they delivered with that game, with the Forge and all those things that I mentioned, and, packaged it up in this incredible game with questionable gun mechanics.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the rest of them don't need to be talked about. Reach was definitely not the best Halo. Halo 4.
No, not even close.
If that was Men in Black from everybody's memory, I don't think anybody would miss it.
Right.
And Halo 5, an honest attempt at appealing to the, advanced movement, fast kill time, like type Call of Duty audience. But I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, okay, so my first impression, as far as like the greatest Halo of all time, I was thinking definitively Halo 3, and there's no arguing that, mainly just because of the points that you brought up, like the fact that it's a complete package. Like it took the success, the great things about Halo 1 and Halo 2 and built on them and continued to innovate and offered everything in one massive, beautiful package. Like every part of that package was a AAA experience. You said it, like theater mode didn't exist.
System.
Except, sure. And these are things that I think that, did the ranking system improve over time, though, in any way, or does it stay static, though? Because people still to this day will tell you Halo 3's ranking system was one of, if not the best ranking systems in competitive Halo, next to Halo 2. It still had the MLG 1 through 50. It was very competitive. It was very, like, getting a 50 back in Halo 3 is, like, that's everybody's. That's like the point that you bring up. If you're good at Halo, you'd be like, oh, I had a 50 back in the MLG.
Yeah, I mean, not to completely derail the conversation and go back to ranks, but like Flame and I were actually talking about this like 2 days ago, and we were talking about how like the Halo 2 versus Halo 3 ranking system and how it's like it's not close in our eyes because I mean many things, but you could boil it down to that argument I was having with somebody on Twitter last time we did the show and talked about the ranking system. He was talking about like how great the Halo 3 ranking system is, but you can get a 50 if you don't lose. You can get a 50 in like 40 something games or like 52 games or something. And if you power leveled, you could do it in like 20 something games or something like that. Like, how is that good? That's not good. That's not like a hallmark of a good ranking system in my eyes. If you can get the highest rank in the game in 20 games, like, and then you just kind of sit there, like, you couldn't scratch like 30 in Halo 2, even if you played 60 games. Like, you weren't coming close. You'd probably be at like a 15 or a 16. Like, it just,
yeah, and that's definitely
system, man.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can get to the level cap really quickly, then that does kind of like ruin the system, and it gives you less incentive to play overall. And that's why people, instead of just doing 50 in one playlist, they would get 50s in all their playlists, and they make a Smurf count and then get 50s in all those. So it wasn't really about like, oh, could I get the 50? It's about how many 50s I could get, kind of became the narrative. But the point that you raised that I thought was amazing was that they're all like 1, 2, and 3 are so incredibly important for their own key reasons. And you can't have one without the other. Like at first glance, I'm saying Halo 3 is the greatest, but when you say, Halo 1 birthed the whole genre, Halo 1, there was nothing like Halo when Halo came out. It was just incredible. It set the precedent. You said multiplayer is an afterthought. It came in last second, but it was still amazing, and it gave way for Halo 2. And Halo 2, if it wasn't for Halo 2, like Xbox Live may not have even existed in the way that it does today. It could have fucking crumbled and disappeared, because and I was just reading an article about it a little while ago. It was like just the millions and millions of people and hours spent on Xbox Live and Halo 2. And it was just Halo 2. People weren't playing anything. They were literally getting Xbox Live just to play Halo 2. And the ranking system was amazing. It was incredibly competitive. That all led into Halo 3. And then Halo 3 was just this perfect storm, taking all of these, yes, maybe gameplay. And the gameplay, I think, if this is another kind of topic, but just kind of taking all these great aspects of the previous Halo titles and putting them into a complete package that was just so great for pleasing the casual, but had enough depth for the hardcore. It had the esports scene, and I guess the foundation of the esports at the time, it also built itself out enough to just let everything explode. Basically, it was just the timing of it, the size of the package, the quality of all the elements in the package just made me think Halo 3 has to be the
size of the package.
Size of the pack, size matters in this case. Okay.
I mean, listen, the facts are the facts. It was the reason that a lot of people bought an Xbox for a very long time.
Right.
I mean, this franchise sold the Xbox console, period. Like, when you were having the Xbox versus PlayStation debates with your friends, it's like, well, PlayStation has all like the RPG games and stuff. And it was like, yeah, but Xbox has Halo.
That's it. Yeah.
Xbox has a bunch of RPG games too.
Sure.
And it has Halo. Like, what does PlayStation have? Well, we have Killzone and SOCOM.
Yeah. What was that Siphon Filter? I played that shit on PSP. That was not bad. But
with the PlayStation shooters with my thumbs hitting together and shit.
Oh my god, yeah, PS3 controllers, man. Don't bring me there. Yeah. And yeah, that's the thing. Like back then it was just, Xbox's glory days as a console too. Just everything about it at the time was pretty remarkable. And that's why, you can't put Reach, Halo 4 and 5 in the running for greatest game in any way. When it comes to gameplay, I feel like there's a little more contention though today. Today, which Halo do you think has the best gameplay?
1.
Okay. I feel like out of the classic titles, I would say 2. Because of the button combos, because of how competitive it was, and just the depth there. Why do you think 1 though?
Predictive spawn system, nading weapons, mostly the most consistent gunplay probably, even though the pistol was kind of inconsistent. Like, you're working with pretty much 3 guns. Mm-hmm. You're working with the pistol, the sniper, and the rocket launcher. The rocket launcher did incredible damage. The pistol was incredibly balanced against those other 2 power weapons, so you never felt like you didn't have a chance. Even if somebody had rockets, you could 3 them and kill them almost as fast. You could trade with the rocket guy, where that is impossible in any other title, pretty much. Unless you unless you quad shot somebody in Halo 2, which I don't think ever even came close to happening in competitive play. you're not killing that guy. He's just going to kill you with the rocket launcher, and you have no chance of fighting back.
Right,
so
right.
in terms of balance and the spawn system alone makes it, the best in terms of gameplay. Like being able, the random thing and like random spawning where I could stand in a spot and play 2v2, stand in a spot and force my teammate to spawn away from me to give us like a slight advantage if we're in a disadvantageous situation is huge. And it's the most chess like Halo game where I can be terrible at shooting my gun, but if I know the game better than everybody else that's playing, I'm going to shit on everyone.
Yeah. See, everything that you're bringing up is just making me realize how much I just missed out on
weapon timing too. Consistent weapon timing with no dirtying of weapons. So simple. 1 minute, 2 minute, minute and a half.
Yeah.
On everything. Like, forget it.
It really is. The game was very consistent in that way. Like once you figured out all those little nuances, then you would consistently nade yourself a weapon every time. You know the exact spawns and how to manipulate spawns perfectly. Like there was a method behind every little aspect, which definitely really interesting. Something that I unfortunately wasn't there for, so I can't even really to give you any information on that. For as far as the thing that you said with Halo 2 though, as far like you said the pistol, it feels like you can always win in any situation, regardless of whether or not they have a rocket launcher or a sniper rifle, which is pretty cool. But then I like that aspect of Halo 2 where you have something like an excessive shot or double shot where if you're skilled enough, you can break your way out of that situation with the BR. So it forces a player to be incredibly quick and have perfect timing and perfect mechanics. That's what I like about that game and why I thought that was, so exceptional. But I'm I guess taking this from the opinion of an individual player in like a solo queue versus like what works best for a team environment. Regardless, there was
I think they took that. Sorry, I think they took that individual skill out of the player's hands in Halo 1 and put it more into their brain, if that makes sense. Like it was less about what you could do with your hands and more about the cerebral nature of the game. And with that, I mean, like, there's a reason that it has the highest ceiling and the biggest skill gap out of any Halo. Like if I play somebody that's the best, I probably won't kill them.
Can't do a single thing.
Because they'll have, if we play Wizard, they're going to have camo and overshield the entire game, and I'm just going to be dead. And they're going to spawn kill me over and over. And like even in 2v2s also, like if you play two people that are way better than you, you will never win. You'll never win, and you'll always have consistently low kills. But in Halo 2, I could kill people with the BR like all the time, and there's not much to like there's not much to like differentiate besides like being really good with your gun and like kind of knowing where to look, like having a good idea of like where somebody's going to spawn so you can get the first shot, or like running around with the incredibly overpowered sword. There's not that much to stop you from getting killed or like getting beat randomly. That you just you couldn't get as good as you can get in Halo 1, where you were just so much better than everybody that they didn't have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, as far as this is out of my area of expertise. The Halo 1 discussion, I can't. What I do want to show, Tony, is I do want to play that clip in full, though. The nade shot, Courage, and Tim the Tap Man. The one thing that I think we can agree on is just how exceptional those first three games were, how important they were for the Halo franchise, and that this is currently being talked about, especially Halo 3, by top content creators like Nade Shot, Courage, and Tim the Tap Man.
Yes,
Tony,
chat, Halo 3 BR was exceptionally trash. The fact that it was a projectile instead of a hit scan weapon was a terrible development decision, and there was bloom on the individual spread, so you never knew exactly
there was an inconsistency
where your bullets were going to go, but they came out at different times. So your three shots actually didn't come out at the same time. They came out like doot doot doot, like 1, 2, 3. So there's this weird lead. You'd have to be like constantly tracking your opponent the entire time and like kind of drag the shot along with them to hit your shots.
That didn't stop players like Roy from hitting every single one of those bullets.
People just figured it. Some people were just so tapped in and they just understood it. But I don't know, man. I can go back and play Halo 2 and be like semi-dominant. Like I can crush people in Halo 2 still. And I get on Halo 3 and it's like my thumbs were put on backwards. Like I have no idea. Like the gravity feels weird. The moving my cursor, my reticle around my cursor, moving my reticle around feels terrible. Like it feels all floaty and I can't shoot at all. I can't hit anything in Halo 3 right now. Like if you were to play me in Halo 3, anybody in this chat right now would smoke me because
Which kind of sounds like the beauty of it as well. Just the fact that you can't just pick it up after not playing for a while and just be amazing at it right away just kind of goes to show that you need to consistently be playing Halo 3 to just, to understand.
I think that more speaks on the inconsistencies of the game and the fact that Halo 1 and Halo 2 are so consistent. That's what makes me able to pick them up and ride them like a bike, whereas Halo 3 is more of a jigsaw puzzle.
I don't know. Let's see what Nate Shot, Courage, and Tim the Tapman are saying in this clip here.
Growing up, obviously.
Yeah, of course. So I'm still convinced to this day that if they never made another game after Halo 3, that Halo would be much like CSGO and would be incredibly popular as an esport. And one of the things that I actually really love to talk about is that back in the day when Halo was like the star of the Major League Gaming professional circuit, and then StarCraft 2 came in, and Call of Duty, whatever the case may be, I think I'm so curious how big the Halo following actually was. Because they would have the events on like the USA Network, and that was before Twitch TV was really prevalent. And I'm just so curious how big Halo professionally the audience actually was. Because I just think that game was so easy to watch. The highlights, which is really, really important for like excitement while you're watching an event, it was so incredible. Someone pick up the sniper or rocket spawn up, really big play, like but 49-49, like lockout or pit, it's unbelievable.
I almost think now to where Epic is today and the stuff that they've done with Fortnite, it makes my mind go like, I wonder how much they look at Halo 3 and go, look what this game had to offer. Like, look what they did. And just like now they're doing it in today's time with how much bigger the gaming audience is for one. Free-to-play game, obviously. But like Halo 3, September 25th, 2007, had a full-functioning theater, a fantastic ranked, a social playlist, a brilliant campaign.
Didn't they have Forge too?
The incredible Forge mode, file share, where you could go and download and take screenshots and upload art and everything. It was so far ahead of its time and only on Xbox that imagine if a game like that well done is released in today's time with the free-to-play cross-platform everything. It would be absolutely insane.
Oh yeah, everyone played it too. Everyone I knew loved Halo. Like there wasn't really any person that in my friend circle growing up that was like Halo. I'm good.
I'm good on that.
Think of how insane Halo is. I've said this many times. There has not been a good Halo game in 12 years. Since Halo 3 was in 2007.
Yeah.
I genuinely say that. There hasn't been a well-loved across-the-board Halo game in 12 years, and it still has legs like it does today.
Right. So, I mean, everything that they say is just what we've been talking about already is just how insane Halo 3 was when it came out and the precedent that it set, the fact that everybody loved it, and it was just that complete package. The biggest thing I wanted to get to in this discussion was not so much just kind of comparing each
to Jack for stealing his whole segment because I watched it literally right before this and I didn't know that you guys were even going to talk about it. But sorry, Jack, I stole everything that you said and used it here. My bad, dog.
No, you're good. You got this. So that's the thing is this is such a great topic that he brought up though, because it's so clear that like when you see these three massive successes like Nade Shot, Courage, and Tim the Tapman all just talking about how amazing Halo used to be and the fact that they want Halo to make a comeback, that's insane. Like just the opportunity that Halo has with Infinite, with MCCPC to just become the mainstream again is incredible. So the real objective of the conversation was what can we do, like, or what would Halo need to do to make a comeback, to get back on top? So in order to figure that out, I was thinking, like, let's figure out what the old Halo games did correctly. What did they do that was so exceptional, which is what kind of Nade Shot and Tim the Tapman were talking about. And what is today's modern gaming audience? What do kind of modern gamers look for, expect from titles? And then what can we do as a community to kind of ensure that this becomes the best possible Halo. It makes that comeback. So just kind of starting with what the old Halo games did correctly. Let's kind of run through that. Just some of your thoughts. Yeah.
There's a few things to tackle here. One, I'd like to start by saying Nate Shot goes on to say it after that clip that or before that clip maybe, that he thinks that if they stopped making Halos after they made Halo 3, that Halo 3 would still have a large esports following and would still be played today like the way CSGO is or the way Counter-Strike is.
Right.
Not sure if I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
But it definitely wouldn't have killed the franchise. There may have been, a resurgence of momentum at some point instead of just this continuing downward trend where people are continuing to buy these games that overpromise and underdeliver and really just aren't rewarding. Like, Halo was built on the 30 seconds of fun model, right? Like, that's what the Bungie devs said when they made it. It's like every 30 seconds, something awesome's going to happen. And like, you're going to be having a great time playing this game the whole time that you're playing it because it's just like constantly rewarding. And now we've like, in this world of instantaneous everything, we've turned that 30 seconds of fun model and we've crushed it down into like the 5 seconds of fun model, which is like what COD is, where you just like, you spawn in and you are flying forward and then you just like kill somebody in like 4 bullets. And then wow, that was fun. And then you die and then you do it all over again. And it's just like constant stimulation. And I think Halo, we don't have to like go too deep into what they did or like what the other games meant or anything like that. It's more just like they have their niche, they have their audience. Like, there isn't another FPS title that has the same like kill time length as Halo, the same system with like shields, and it's like a respawn game primarily. There was that one time where they tried that one mode that was like Breakout. I don't know what game that was even in, but whatever.
Yeah, in Halo 5, yeah.
Yeah, not important. So I mean, it stands on its own. It has its own place in like the, saturated FPS market. If they could just, do the things that everybody knows that they should do. It's really, we don't need to say more than that, honestly. I think, it's the core gameplay experience of Halo of like, 2.5 second, 3 second kill time, whatever that was supposed to be with the BR. If they want to do like a pistol thing, consistent spawn system that makes a lot of sense, like the Halo 1 system where you could literally like pinpoint things on the map, like, okay, if I'm here and the rest of my team is like right next to me, then our teammate's going to spawn here.
Right.
But if he's standing over here, then maybe the guy spawns out all the way somewhere over there. Just like stuff that's really consistent.
Is there a point where it becomes like too controlled and too manipulated? Like, is that?
I don't think so, man.
And that's the thing is like
that's all part of the game.
That's why I can't.
That's mastery. You know what I mean? Like that's where you get the true skill. If it's too simple, then it's an issue. Like if one team spawn kill, if one team wipes the other team and then they just have them on spawn kill forever, like and they just keep spawning in one spot. And I guess that is a map design issue as well. That's another thing. They need, great symmetrical arena maps. Like the best Halo maps throughout all time have been like, besides Lockout and a few others, have been smaller arena maps that are symmetrical or just an arena map. I can't think of I can think of one great Halo map that was not an arena map, but it is pretty symmetrical, and that's Blood Gulch. And there's a reason that it was dragged into almost every single title, if not every single title.
But not a competitive map in any way.
Not a competitive map. I mean, it could have been, if you're playing 8v8 or whatever, or, it's competitive in your basement when you're playing 4v4 against your friends.
Sure.
CTF at 2 a.m. But, smaller, arena maps that are symmetrical. It's symmetry is like the easiest way. Like if you're stumped as a developer and you're like, oh man, like not really sure about these maps, just make something symmetrical. Like even if it's kind of sucky, at least it'll make sense to everyone and like it'll be even. Because the worst thing that you could do is set up a map where one team automatically spawns with an advantage. Who wants to play on that?
Yeah.
Nobody. It's stupid.
Yeah, there are little elements of maps where like they're predominantly symmetrical, but there are small features within those maps that aren't symmetrical. For example, construct, one side isn't the same as the other, though the map overall is relatively symmetrical, which does work when you have elements like that, as long as it's not giving a large advantage to one team over the other.
It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be, midship, but it has to be, close.
Yeah. The one topic I wanted to go back on real quick, that Counter-Strike argument about whether or not if Halo 3 never released another game after Halo 3, like what would the franchise and the community look like today? I don't know if Halo 3 itself would hold up today, just in comparison to all the other games in the market. Just the general look, the feel of it, just the way that everything kind of works, I feel like would show its age, and it is already kind of showing its age nowadays, even though it is still a very beautiful game. But that's not really the big thing. I think what really was interesting about the Counter-Strike perspective is just the fact that the community itself stayed together and continued to grow, and it had these deep storylines that continued throughout, right? The big issue with Halo is the fact that the community is kind of fractured in that way, right? Because of the release of the new titles and the fact that opinions on them were split, a lot of the big Halo players moved off and played other titles, and other Halo players who are still massive successes, they may not have created content around the game or really fully, kind of gotten into that building a brand aspect of it so that they could develop their own kind of storyline. You know what I mean? Like there's a disconnect as far as
I feel like we could speculate on this topic forever because who knows what would have happened if another league would have came in and picked up Halo 3, because what happened after MLG had a couple Reach events. They actually had they had like a whole season of Reach, and then it was up to like AGL and these like little grassroots leagues to carry the torch, and it just wasn't the same. Like it lost all interest. And I think, in fairness, I feel like, that was Reach. I guess viewership started declining and stuff, and people were just on their way out.
Right.
But it was at a different time. They make a good point. Like if the game was released today, it would be a lot different.
Mm-hmm.
And they make that point because YouTube wasn't nearly the force that it is today back then. Like YouTube is just starting out back in the people that started YouTube in like 2009 and stuff like that are massive now. Like those are the biggest players in the space. It's the same thing with like Twitch, and there was no exposure. And I think this is going to lead me to my last point, which is like, what can we do to bring this thing back to glory? And I think it's going to take like the biggest marketing push that Microsoft has ever pulled off.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to have to pay out the ass for influencers to come and stream the game.
Sure.
Until they release the game, and then it just comes down to it's really a two-part system. Like they need to pay a ton of people a lot of money to promote the hell out of this game, and then they need to deliver a good game. Like that's the bottom line. If the game is good, people will play it. And if it's available on PC and everybody it's multi-platform, people are going to play it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it comes down to, did you make a good game or not? And, all the marketing money in the world, Activision's got really deep pockets. They throw a shitload of money at Call of Duty every year. There were years that they had those commercials with Kobe Bryant and like all these, popular pop culture figures in their commercials, that and running ads during like peak times on television. They had like Super Bowl ads and stuff. Like, this stuff isn't cheap, and some of their games still flopped. Like at the end of the day, you have to make a great game. Period.
So, Halo 5 had some pretty great marketing as far as like having a large marketing campaign. They had the Hunt for the Truth thing backing them. I think the biggest issue was that the marketing and the final result, they didn't follow through. Like what we saw in marketing and what we expected did not. There was no follow through in the final product. So yes, it'd be nice if they had a massive marketing push for Halo Infinite, but there has to be a follow through. Whatever it is that whatever kind of image that they're trying to portray with their marketing better be present throughout the game. And yeah, what we're seeing, what we're expecting, we better get in that regard. So just hopefully that's what happens, because I know there was a ton of money and energy put into marketing Halo 5, but when it came out, it just wasn't what people thought it might have been just based on the trailers that they had seen. So that needs to be consistent. As far as like kind of going back to what Halo games did correctly, I did get kind of like 3 main points that I put down here. Just as my perspective on this is that the first part was that they're first movers and innovators in the FPS space at the time. This was the one thing that the first 3 did correctly. They were, every single one of the games innovated in some way. We talked about this, that like Halo 1, before Halo 1, there was nothing like Halo. Halo 2 innovated in the side of the multiplayer and competitive and online. Halo 3 brought a complete package with everything together, just something unprecedented, while adding theater mode, adding forge mode, all of these little innovations that we had not seen previously. So that's something that I think that would need to carry over into Halo Infinite. Some form of innovation, some form of new, bringing something new to the space, maybe even adding a new element to this kind of complete package idea. The second one was just the fact that, yes, the game is just, I've already said this a million times, just the complete package was my second point. And the third point was it's a simple formula. So it's very straightforward, the first 3 games. It's you can move, you jump, you crouch, you shoot. But there's enough depth beyond that to please the hardcore players. So this is kind of the key thing, is that they were constantly bringing something new and innovating. They were bringing a ton of content with every game, and each aspect of that content was AAA, and that it was a simple formula, but there was enough depth to please hardcore gamers is kind of like the key things that I think they did right that would need to carry over. What do you think about that?
I mean, you distilled it down to make it sound like Mega Man almost. It's like,
sure,
jump and shoot, man.
Well, yeah, jump,
all
shoot,
you gotta
melee,
do is jump and shoot. That's all you got.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is like, that's kind of what it is. Like, what can you do in classic Halo? You can move, you can crouch, you can jump, you can shoot, you can melee, you can nade. That's it. But there's so much more depth to the interactions and how they play out, and what you can and can't do, and your positioning, and where your teammates are, and strategy involved, and everything beyond that. So and that kind of comes in when you spend the time with the game, and you get invested in it. The other aspect of that is, so, okay, that's all great. All of this information here is great, and hopefully this is brought into the next Halo title. But today's modern gaming audience is a little different than what we had back in the day, as far as, the audience of gamers. Like you said, YouTube, internet wasn't the same as it is now. Similarly, today's gaming landscape is a red ocean, right? There's a million FPS titles out there now. We've got games like Overwatch, Apex Legends, Counter-Strike is still massive, Rainbow Six, PUBG. Fast-paced gameplay is the norm, and it's incredibly popular now, right? So everybody's kind of moving around, sliding, sprinting. This has become very normal. And yeah, abilities such as sliding and sprinting. And then games that don't have insane speed, so think like Counter-Strike and Rainbow Six, they kind of supplement that by having an abundance of strategy, right? Like there's a lot of strategic elements to Rainbow Six and Counter-Strike that kind of, make up for the slower-paced gameplay. It's weird because Halo kind of sits in the middle of both of those, right? Halo has elements of strategy, it has elements of speed, but it doesn't have a ton of strategy like a Counter-Strike or a Rainbow Six. And, a lot of people are saying it shouldn't have the speed of a Call of Duty. So it's kind of an interesting spot that it sits in there. On top of the fact that...
Sorry, go ahead.
Just that games as a service is regular now, is a normal thing. Games are continually updated with new features and improvements on a seasonal basis. This is an expectation now as well. So it's not just about having tons of content that works well on launch, but it's about having that as a foundation and being ready and agile as a company to quickly build on that and improve as time goes by, is the kind of the big thing that we're expecting. So this is kind of our modern gaming market. So how do we take these 3 aspects that I said about what Halo did correctly, clearly just having tons of content complete from the day one, but how do they innovate like they always did in the past, while maintaining a simple formula with enough depth to please the hardcores?
Yeah, I think you were talking about it with Rainbow Six and Counter-Strike as the examples of first-person shooters that, supplement their, Rainbow and Counter-Strike still very short kill times.
They're still pretty quick. Yeah.
They're quick in their gunplay, but they're slow in their movement. But I think Halo has this very special place. I think because it was born on console, it has this it's like the family-friendly FPS strategy game. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as hardcore as Counter-Strike and Rainbow. Like, you don't have to be as cerebral. Like, surely there are cerebral elements to the game, and you can be a lot smarter and usually win off of that. But I think keeping the gunplay as the focus of the game is what Halo's strong suit is, and just making it easy for everyone to pick up and play the game. Because what you don't want to do is, and I still haven't figured out how League of Legends and some of these other games have become so popular with such a high barrier to entry. Like, you don't want to make the barrier to entry so high that especially older players that have played the franchise, because you're still working within the franchise. Older players that have played the franchise for a long time are excited about Halo Infinite and want to pick the game up again.
Yeah.
They pick it up and they're like, I gotta do what now? There's 3 extra buttons that I never knew existed, and you have to climb on stuff, and there's a different button for that now, and running around, and there's sliding, and there's these 3 different things I can do with my guns. I can switch my ammo if I want to shoot a burst or a single shot. What is going on,
Sure.
So you want to keep it very simple and casual. Those are the best games. The games that are the easiest to play but also provide a really high skill gap or have a high skill ceiling. Those are the best types of games. Guitar, it's not a sport, but it's a very simple 5-stringed instrument.
6.
It's just 5. Yeah, whatever. It's just 6 strings. 5 strings. It's just 6 strings.
Oh my
God.
And
they're strapped to a piece of wood, and you can either be terrible, or you could you'll never be able to master it, and you could be so unbelievably amazing and play the most beautiful music ever. It's just such a simple thing that people can use.
So the whole simple thing. So I think it's correct that back in the day, the simple formula was the reason why it was so amazing and so successful. But now that you're kind of bringing up these points about modern games, what's kind of expected these days is complexities within. It's for example, Fortnite is undoubtedly the most popular game right now, everywhere, worldwide, let's say, or maybe we'll go North America.
No,
Fortnite,
go ahead.
I'm
just waiting for you to set yourself up so I can just chop this thing down.
Well, Fortnite actually isn't that simple, though, when you think about it. It's Fortnite, the movement and shooting is pretty simple, but the building, there's a lot of depth to that. And it's interesting that it's so incredibly popular, because I wouldn't say it's I guess it's very easy to just kind of drop in, you die. So in that aspect, it's casual. But the actual mechanics of the game and mastering those and the skill ceiling that's available there is insane.
The guitar.
That's the guitar.
Well, you have. So what do you get? You get 5 item slots in Fortnite. You get five guns or whatever, and you can build 4 different things. That's it. That's the whole game. And it's super easy to be shitty and pick up a lot of.
It's
not really. I mean,
when you're mapping your controls on PC, you're trying to figure out where the wall, the floor, the ceiling, and
if you want to be great, but you can hit build, hit E or whatever, and scroll through with your mouse wheel whatever you want to build. It's super easy to be terrible. Drop in, build a ramp. Anybody can build a ramp, and then just start shooting from behind your ramp. Very easy.
Yeah.
To build battle somebody and edit and do all the crazy stuff that Mongrel and all those people are doing. That's for the top 0.1% of people. But to jump in and play the game, anybody can jump in and play. It's one of the easiest games in the world to play. You walk around, all the guns are color coded for you. It's so simple. You walk in, you find a gun, you pick it up, you start shooting at somebody. You may kill them, you may die. You drop in again. Easy. It's such an easy game.
So if I take like
At
the
its core.
perspective, Halo 5, let's say, I find Halo 5 is pretty easy at its core. Like you could drop in, you don't need to sprint around and Spartan charge or whatever this fancy mechanics. That Spartan charge is jokes though. But like I'm just saying, you can just kind of come in and shoot things and die and reset like you do with Fortnite. And then there's a lot of depth in the mechanics in the game that make just a massive skill ceiling. Is that not like similar? That's the thing where I'm like, what? So
Well, here's the issue: is that the game's bad. But the second issue
I don't know where
is
that's
that
sure.
it's it's kind of an apples oranges thing because you're comparing a game where it's basically a free for all to a team game. The complexity in Halo has always come out in like the team mechanics. You know what I mean? Like knowing where to position. It's all like a game of positioning
Right.
more than it is a game of like gun skill. Because like you could totally blow a game for your team by just like running forward when you're not supposed to or something. And you can't really do that in Fortnite. Like you could get into an engagement that you're not supposed to get into, but like it's never really like the wrong play. If that makes sense. Like, yeah, like you could argue it, but you could always like fight your way out of it. I don't know. Like in Halo, if you just like do something really, really stupid, your whole team gets punished for it.
Right.
I guess that's I don't know. I think the team play aspect of it makes it complicated. And then like yeah, obviously it's a console shooter. It's very limited in like the things that you could do, the buttons you could press to make your guy do whatever. But like, I could run around and be terrible and still like get enjoyment out of it, and kill people. But then there's somebody like Shotzi who like is breaking the mechanics of moving around in the game. You're like, holy shit, like this is something that you could have that's actually like achievable. You could actually like do something like this, and it's amazing to watch. Yeah. Is the gap between those two things that incredibly far? Like, yes, in a sense of the hours that is put in to like master that kind of stuff, but like from a results and like a fun and enjoyment standpoint, I don't feel like it is.
Yeah.
Like, yes, he's
I don't even know what I want to say to this.
a lot better than me, like way, way, way better than me. But going back to what I was saying earlier, like I'd probably be able to kill him a couple times just because it's not a game that's built for like.
What are you saying? That you kill Shotzi a couple times?
Yeah, maybe. I haven't played Halo 5 in a very long time. I might be talking out of my ass, but like the last time, I am a very good 1v1 player, and I had to play Roy 1v1 once, and he told me that he was going to beat me without me getting any kills in Halo 3, and then we were tied 7-7, and he was sweating. So it's, these games they're not set up. Halo 5 much more than Halo 3. Halo 3 is, there's not a lot of options. Like I know he can like jump around in Halo 5 and boost and like really mess me up and do some weird stuff. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just not the ceiling isn't there. For whatever reason, if it was the maps, if it was the movement, if it was the gunplay, the like enjoyment factor in Halo 5 was not there. Like I may trash the series a lot, but I'm one of the biggest Halo fans that you'll ever find because I've been playing the game since the day it was released, and I've played every single one of them. Like there's not one that I haven't picked up, and it breaks my heart to see it where it is today. But I mean, I'll be real with you that some of the games just don't. If they were good, I would be playing them. Like, if Halo 5 was a great game, I would be playing it today. Like, I would go home from work, and I would load up Halo 5 and play it because I love Halo.
Right. So I'm trying to think of what this all means. Is it what Halo 5 is overly complex that makes it, or why? Like, I don't even know where I'm taking this.
I don't know if I could really place what makes it such a bad game. I just played it and I knew.
Once again, disagree that it's a bad game, but
I mean, bad.
It's different.
Yeah, bad's a relative term. I just didn't have fun playing it. Do you have fun playing it?
Yes, every day that I play it. Yeah, but for a but maybe it's a very different reason. I find, and I don't know where we're taking this discussion, but let's just see where it goes, I guess. I find that the mechanics present in Halo 5 just make it exciting. There's so much depth that I'm always learning something new when it comes to jumps and movement and routes. There's so many ways to navigate 1v1 scenarios, multiple players against you, like 2v1 scenarios, like just depending on where you are on the map, you've got a million different avenues and options you can take advantage of if you intimately understand the movement mechanics in the game. And of course, you need to be amazing at shooting. You need to have your reticle ready in all of the key moments. You can't just always be jumping around and not be ready for each engagement. But the crazy thing is the perfect harmony of when you're able to hit those spring jumps in really, inconvenient locations. And also land your shots and do like a perfect drop back with the clamber. There's so many, there's just a lot of nuance to how the mechanics all kind of connect together and the scenarios that you get from that. Does that work in a competitive game with two teams on a map going up against each other when every single individual player has, I guess they're capable of so much. Does that work as far as balance goes? Maybe that's the big question. Maybe that's kind of what makes it less appealing to people. Maybe they think that it's less balanced, I guess, as a result of the inclusion of everything. Everything's too fast, there's too much power given to one player. So the team aspect of it is less important. And then, as a team game, it doesn't work in the same degree. Though it does still, there was an esports scene for Halo 5 that, that was appreciated and that was very competitive and had consistency, right? You had consistent results. So.
Yeah, I think that maybe it was too complex. Maybe there were too many buttons that you could press. Maybe there was too much going on for something that, in my opinion, should be a simple console shooter. It's not. This is the big reason why I was so against them going after the Call of Duty market, because they went halfway in. They went waist deep. And they were like, this is far enough. But if you're going to make a game like that, just make a new game. Make your own IP that plays like Call of Duty. Don't turn your franchise that is built off of walking, jumping, and shooting and turn that into a fast-paced shooter game, because you're just going to either A, piss everybody off or sink the franchise.
Right.
Or both, I guess. I guess those are one and the same, but there's nothing that they could do.
It's not that easy.
Halo needs to be Halo, in my opinion. It needs to go back to the core mechanics and have only a few different options, and make that the complexity. Force that simple complexity. Make it a guitar. Don't make it this crazy, you gotta have 8 fingers on each hand to play. I don't think anybody that plays Halo is interested in that.
Right.
And this, again, I've been playing the franchise since legitimately the day that Halo 1 came out. So I may be biased as to what Halo is or what Halo should be.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, they just need to stop the advanced movement thing completely, make a different IP, make a new game. Everybody's dying for a new game. Make a new game that competes with Call of Duty, and bring Halo back to what made Halo, which is that it's a guitar.
Don't change the core formula is what you're saying.
Simple.
Yeah.
And have that simplicity breed the complexity.
Yeah. Now, one thing is I can kind of understand the direction that they've taken just based on if you look at other games. For example, let's say, and Tony, I know you have some footage for this, but Borderlands 3 and Doom are two games that previously didn't have any form of mechanics, but Borderlands now has a sprint and a slide that you can do. Doom has its own kind of thrust, and you can swing on poles and stuff, and all of these inclusions are met with positivity from the audience. People love this stuff. I guess the thing is that these games aren't primarily competitive multiplayer games. So when it's included in a campaign or something like that, then this stuff is appreciated.
Nor do they have a precedent like the Halo franchise does.
Maybe that's the biggest
Doom
thing
has
too. It's
old
just
games, but like Doom on whatever PC in 1993,
Right.
people don't remember that anymore. Now it's just like, oh, look at this cool new shiny thing, and it plays a lot like the other games of this generation.
Right. So, and yeah, you're right. Halo has the precedent. So simply just kind of going the avenue of including sprint and slide just because other games might have it isn't, doesn't seem to be the best route that they could take, I guess. Like, how can they innovate without mechanics like that? In what way would they be able to make innovations? So let's say, because one thing that I brought up in a previous interview was that just saying that there's no sprint, like let's say, like the thing is that audiences kind of come to expect sprint in games right now. I don't think it's a make or break for the success of Halo if sprint is in the next Halo title, but just saying that it's not in the Halo title will have a huge impact on the community. If they just mention no sprint for Halo Infinite, yeah, you think it won't have it?
I think it will have it.
Oh, okay. But I'm just saying, if they mention that there won't be sprint, it's like mentioning that Halo will have split screen, or like mentioning that the Xbox One was built just for games. Like it's a very quick and easy way to please your core audience. Basically, they'd be like, "Damn, awesome! It's the Halo that we know and love." But they still need to innovate. So I think it would be interesting if they were able to take out sprint, but then take on the challenge of innovating and speeding up the gameplay. And adding cool ways to make it fun and entertaining for a modern gaming audience. So do you have any ideas on how they might do something like that? Like a couple of things I was thinking was like if they could innovate as far as the weapons or the equipment, kind of like the Halo 3 equipment, or the environment around the player.
I don't know, man. I really don't think that they should touch the core experience of the game. I think if they want to do stuff like that, if they want to lean on the people that want to play in like this super fast paced, gaming world, they should leverage slot. They should leverage SWAT a lot more. Leverage SWAT. Bring in, put more resources into the SWAT playlist. Change the name of it maybe. I know it's like synonym, like you can't, people know it as SWAT in Halo, but like change the name, give it a flashier name to like appeal to the, the 8 through 15 year olds that are going to be playing.
15-year-olds, wow.
Yeah, the younger kids, the kids that are playing Call of Duty, the 9, 10, 11-year-olds.
Because that's the audience that you think would like fast gameplay? Because I feel like
those are the kids that play COD.
Oh my god.
And watch COD YouTube videos and want to be the next, nade shot or whatever. It's younger kids, man. Little kids are playing these games.
Right.
And if you want, make it a 50-50 split instead of between like social and ranked. Maybe you go, no shields and shields. I don't know. Like, and then in terms of just like innovating, I think that comes through the map design. That comes through game elements. Like, you don't need to innovate. Like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel here. I don't think, especially with a game or a franchise rather that's in this much trouble. Like, go back to the core for like one game, and in 3 or 4 years, then after you have one good title, after 3, 4 bad ones, then you can go and try to start like improving on that. But right now they need to just like land on the ground with both feet first, because they're just in a free fall. So I think, making great maps that are symmetrical, making gunplay that's consistent, and having hit scan weapons, having what would be awesome would be to have an armory of weapons to choose from that are balanced. It's an incredibly hard thing to accomplish.
What do you mean by armory of weapons to choose from?
Well, you put weapons in an armory. This is like a war chest, rather. Yeah. Is a war chest a better word?
Access, or what do you mean? Why
no,
would you have
I mean just like in the sandbox, available to you, like that spawn on the map. Having not just a VR that you play with, but having another comparable weapon, maybe it has the same kill time, but it just looks a little bit different. Just like, I don't know, add some variety to the game where there was no variety before. But if they could actually add more guns to the sandbox that were balanced, so it wasn't just, a 1, 2, 3 gun game, I think that would be incredibly beneficial. That would add longevity to the title. It would add replayability. People would be trying out all these different guns that they, normally, like, nobody ever picks up the Needler. Nobody picks up the plasma rifle. Like, plasma rifle was viable in Halo 1, but like in no other franchise or in no other title was it viable. Like, it got to be so one-dimensional. I think that was part of its demise. They need to bring back some variety, and they tried to do that, but you have to really, really, and this is where the pro team comes in, balance all this shit. And it is the hardest job that there is.
Right.
I guarantee it.
Because they keep bringing the Needler back, but it's like you make it too powerful, people complain. If it's too weak, they just don't use it. So
well, yeah, that's the issue with a homing gun, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think adding variety of weapons, and they don't have to have a battle royale mode. I think, they're probably working on it. The Halo universe plays very well into it.
Take their own spin on it.
Yeah, I mean, it works. I think it would be fun to play. I don't think it's necessary. I think, maybe it is. Maybe that's the thing that streamers would really grab a hold of, that they could, that's new and fresh, but also, gives them that nostalgia that Halo gives me and so many other people. Maybe that is the key. I don't know. The cool thing is that nobody really knows, but we're all sitting here talking about it because we all give a shit and we all want it to be great. Like, I care so much. I would love for this game. Nobody wants this game to succeed. Well, I mean, maybe some of the people that have big money invested in it, Microsoft, but like nobody else wants this game to succeed more than I do. I would love to go home and be excited like I was when I was 14 and I got off the bus. And I would run back home and run into my basement and play Halo 2 until I went to sleep. Like, that was the best feeling.
Yeah. Weapons-wise, I think it'd be cool if they messed around with projectile and hit scan, because you've always had a mix of projectile and hit scan weapons. Your core weapon should be hit scan, like your BR, your Magnum, whatever. But they always have like plasma weapons that are projectile weapons, or your rockets, or your grenade launchers, or whatever. They all have projectile attributes. There should be a precision projectile weapon that's comparable to the BR. That's maybe like some form of a carbine, or like a Covenant weapon, or whatever. That might have a slightly faster time to kill than the BR, but it's slightly more difficult to use because it's projectile. So you get a nice, like, healthy mix of the two. For the fans of, like, using that projectile style BR, you have something equivalent on the Covenant
that should always
side.
be the trade-off. It's like,
it would be cool.
You using a harder weapon, you should be rewarded with more damage. Being out by that weapon, and it's it's a fine line. Like I said, hardest thing in the game is probably balancing weapons, but and designing maps probably number 2.
Yeah.
But if they could nail down those two things, I have no doubt that it'll be at least a very playable game, even if they put sprint and some of the advanced movement options in, which I really think that they're going to do, even though they really should, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of contention on the advanced movement abilities. What's interesting, though, is that if you look at, like, the button combos of Halo 2, these are mechanics, like deep mechanics that are challenging to pull off, but they're, like, universally appreciated. What do you think of finding some way to include something like that as an alternative to movement, having some, maybe not a BXR, but something in the same vein? Like a button combo, but that's something that they probably would never advertise.
I don't think any developer would be comfortable putting something like that in a game. I think it would have to come from a gun, like a very specific gun that had this ability. It wouldn't be available on all guns, But yeah, they would have to build it into a weapon, like a singular weapon, and then that would be the weapon that you would pick up, and it would be like a risky thing. But if you could pull off this, whatever. And maybe if you don't put it in right, it jams or something. I don't know.
Sure.
But like, they would never put it in just to like put it in.
Yeah. Speaking of like secondary attributes of weapons and stuff, though, Tony, I had that quick clip on the effect of the sword in Halo 2. If you can show that clip real quick. So watch this sword swipe here, and this happens sometimes when you're trying to lunge on somebody. Watch this one right here.
Yeah.
And he launches and gets a sick headshot. What do you think of stuff like that? Because I think that's actually pretty sick. I think, you know, if
I
the
would
sword
liken
kind of had
that
that quality.
I would liken that to like, you know, nade tricks and stuff. I don't think that this really like shouldn't happen. Like if you I like understand I think what's happening in like the physics of
He's
the
jumping
game.
to the left, and it seems like the timing of the slash.
Yeah, but he should finish that jump in an arc, right? And he doesn't. He just kind of like launches.
Right, because the player that he's trying to grab seems to not be in front of him. That's what it looks like to me, but I'm not.
Yeah. Well, realistically, he like starts to defy gravity, right? In another game, or like in a well-made game, gravity would push him down to the ground a lot faster. He wouldn't just continue rocketing through the sky. So I'm okay with that if they like fixed the gravity on that move. You know, if he came down quicker, which he should.
Yeah.
Then yeah, I mean, if it's you know, if you can sword lunge to that guy, yeah, why not? And if you like kind of step to the side of him a little bit and you kind of travel past him, why not? Why shouldn't you know, kind of like float through the air, but don't just
like
be shot out of a cannon? Yeah, because then it becomes inconsistent. And what you want is consistency in your games, and that's like.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing for me always. Is like making sure that everything is repeatable and consistent. And then if you're doing stuff like that, it's not consistent.
Sure. Yeah, I just think it's interesting that there's like a secondary, you know, attribute of the sword, and of course that's not really something that you had kind of planned or anybody planned to happen. But when that does happen and you pull off a sick snipe out of it, it's pretty cool. It makes me think like maybe there's some way that they can add depth to the weapons, that when you pick up a weapon, it changes the way you move around the map in some way. I'm not sure, but and especially if that weapon is a power weapon, then players can prioritize it and try to take advantage of it to gain some sort of a subtle advantage there, rather than everybody having static abilities off the rip. I don't know.
There's also that sword swap that you could do where you could like aim with another weapon
across a map.
Yeah.
Sword flying. Yeah, which is ridiculous. That's stupid though. As far as competitive goes.
Yeah.
For campaign, that was sick.
Really, really hard to pull off, but sick.
Yeah, but sick. Yeah. But there's the other thing is that what do you think we can do as a community to help ensure Halo's success? Because I think at the end of the day, like 343, they're probably going to try new things. Like, I mean, I would expect them to try new things in an attempt to innovate. They might try to take the game in new directions. And I just feel like as a community, it's important that we try to approach whatever decision that they make with an open mind.
Absolutely.
And don't immediately dismiss something just because you don't like how it sounds. At the same time, it's important to have criticism and to play and to give your criticisms, but when we voice criticisms, to be constructive in our approach and to do so with the intent of helping the Halo community and the Halo game be the best game it possibly can be. That's kind of the biggest thing, because like you're saying, you know, when you think about Halo 5 and the fact that
those are rules for life, by the way, everyone.
Right.
Those are pretty much, you want to do that with pretty much everything in your life.
Yeah.
Don't be an asshole.
Do you ever feel like Halo 5 was kind of dismissed in a way, though? Because like you just kind of say it's a bad game, and I mean, I'm not sure how much you played it, but
I played it a bit. I mean, I say it's a bad game because it's hard for me to place what makes it a bad game, and I didn't feel like putting in the hours to really figure out what made it a bad game. I just knew when I played it that I didn't like it. Didn't give me the satisfaction that other Halo titles gave me, and that was enough for me. I was like, all right, that's, you know. That's all I needed from this. I think as a community, there's not much. I mean, there are things that we could do. Not a ton that most people can do, but buy the game and play the game. And if you like the game, keep playing the game. But the biggest thing that everybody can do is make content surrounding the game. So do stuff like we're doing right now. If you like a certain aspect of the game, like if you love Griffball, start uploading Griffball videos to YouTube. Like, spread the word of the game and let other people find what you're talking about and get, you know, they're gonna latch onto you, and they're going to latch onto that game, and it's going to grow the game's popularity. Maybe they'll end up watching an esports tournament. It's not about we're not even in the fight to make this a great esports game. We just want to make it a great game. Just like we want a good Halo game at the very least. So if everybody loves the game and it ends up being like a crap esports title, I don't even care. Like, I just want it. I want it to be a great game that everybody loves again, that people talk about, that kids in high school play, and I just that's what I want. I want to see my favorite influencers and my favorite YouTubers and my favorite Twitch streamers playing it and talking about it, and all my old pro Halo friends playing the game. Like, I miss it.
Yeah, I think we all do.
Back.
Something I was thinking, and this is actually kind of taking the conversation back for a second, but one of the unique aspects of classic Halo that people love was just this idea of momentum when you're moving along a map. The fact that you're never stopped, your gun's never down at any point. You're always ready to fire a shot, of course, unless you're throwing a nade or a melee or something. You're always kind of navigating the map in a way where your gun is positioned and ready to fire, and you can also navigate a map backwards if you know the map well enough. So I think that idea of momentum, maybe that's something that they should play into and try to innovate in that sense. How can they make it so that when you're navigating the map, your gun is never down in just your standard navigation, which is something that people say they don't like about Sprint. When you're running around the map, your gun is in a state where it's down. You're not ready to fire. Sometimes, depending on the gun, you have to stop before you fire. So how can they change that narrative? Maybe yes, you have a higher base movement speed if your gun's always ready. Do you remove aspects like clamber, or do you change the way that clamber works so that people can fire while they traverse over obstacles? What do you do?
See, I was never a fan of clambering. I always thought that it's not a smooth mechanic. It's clunky. You accidentally jump onto ledges sometimes, and I can get onto a higher place, but just design the map so that you don't need it. We don't need that. We've played plenty of Halo titles without it. Just jump, crouch, if you can make it, if you can clear the thing, then you made it. If you didn't, then you didn't. And you're still shooting. Your gun's still up. You never, at no point are you putting your hands down to grab onto something and climb it. No, get rid of that.
There is something goofy about not having it, though, in today's gaming. You know what I mean? Because every single video game, competitive FPS today, has some form of a way to grapple a ledge if you're trying to climb up onto a ledge. You know what I mean? As much as I think it would be great if the game was seamless and it worked without it, if you
but
just
I think it's because they designed the maps that way. If we just stopped designing maps that way, then we wouldn't need it. They build it in, in COD, they make these high ledges, these high windows that you have to, jump to get into, and then grab onto the windowsill or the window ledge and then climb into it.
Right. Yeah.
Just make better design. Put a box in front of it.
Make it so you never need to actually climb up in that way. But at the same time, if you're jumping towards an obstacle and your feet don't connect with the floor, your knees hit it, and then the way that it looks, and you don't make it, it just looks so goofy. It's just kind of I think it would be interesting if the clamber was implemented only when the obstacle is below you. So if you're trying to make the jump and it's below you, then there's a bit of a clamber aspect to kind of pull you up, but it's not as powerful as it is in Halo 5, where you kind of reach at obstacles above and climb up, and you can drop back down and climb up. Maybe something like that, where they can kind of continue to because it's a modern gaming kind of feel and expectation is what it seems like to me, where it's if you touch a wall, you're climbing over that wall, there's a natural kind of a hand comes there and it kind of pulls you over. Your gun could be active the whole time, but
CSGO doesn't have
smooth.
it. There's a lot of there's modern shooters that don't have. Quake.
I guess
Quake's one of the fastest shooters that there is, and they don't have clamber. You just zoom around. What was the other game that I used to play that you could slide, and you could not like a slide like in COD, but Tribes. Tribes was a big momentum game. You could ski, so every time you're downhill, you hold spacebar and you pick up momentum, and then you could just launch yourself.
Right. Yeah.
Trying to stay away from that. Let's stay away. Let's stay away from
watching. Ski launching.
Anything like that. I think it's just we need to go back to running around, and it may feel slow.
What do you think of the stabilize, by the way? Stabilize mechanic. Because I feel like most people really enjoy the stabilize inclusion. You don't like it?
No.
I find it to be a very balanced addition to the game. It doesn't change your position on the map in any significant way. It just allows you to get that extra peek if you need to get that extra peek. Of course, if you get shot while you're peeking, you drop back down. I think it's a pretty sick mechanic.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's okay. It's not the worst thing ever. It is sort of like, I could see how it could be. I'm thinking about like situations in Halo 3 where if Halo 3 had it, it would be like annoyance, like a major annoyance. Like imagine you're on top of narrows and instead of like jumping, it just takes away from some of the skill.
When it auto stabilizes, it's annoying. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, no, not even auto stabilization, but it just takes away from some of the skill and timing and like takes away from a great play. You know, if you jump top, like what do you call that thing, top mid on narrows? What the Mauler sits
the
on?
Mohawk or?
Well, it's not really a Mohawk. It's like sideways.
Oh, no, it's not Afro, is it? There's two Afros in the.
Yeah, it's like the
the
top
Afro.
center Afro. So if you're like standing on that and you jump off and you hit like a sick headshot, it's amazing because the timing. You know what I mean? Like you were there, you jumped off, and then you're falling, and you saw that guy at the right time. You adjusted your aim, you took the shot, you killed that guy, and then, if you're stabilized, you're jumping and you're holding stabilization. You're just sitting there waiting for this thing to happen. You jump, you're kind of just like standing there, and then you take the shot, and you come back down, you jump again, you hold it there, you just sit. It's just like standing, but a few feet higher. It doesn't. I don't know. To me, it doesn't make for like. Does this make the game like? Does this make for more like sick plays, or is it just kind of like something fancy that we really don't need?
Right. That's fair. So Joe believes that the game needs to go all the way back to classic style and mechanics, do what they did well back in Halo 1, 2, and 3. What do you guys think in the chat? Let's see what kind of questions we have in the chat here and get that conversation going. ClearlyMe says, what conditioner do you use? This sounds like a Halo question.
Yeah, this is the first question that we got. I'm actually going to drop the link in the chat. This is the Christoph Robin blueberry antioxidant.
Damn. Sounds like it has some serious
4 oils. It's some quality stuff right there.
What kind of ingredients are we looking at in there?
We're looking at all
organic?
all the natural, wonderful ingredients. If you want hair like this, you know what I'm saying? We don't cruelty free. It's good stuff. That, and then I use what shampoo am I using right now?
I think your genetics probably help with the results of the hair.
Thing.
Yeah. We got a buddy in the background too.
Is that bud? That's my buddy Drew, Director Drew. I call him.
Nice. Of course, guys, if you want hair like that, you can feel free to check out the conditioner. I think he linked in the chat. We've got, there it is. There's an image of it. Jeez, you found it. Let's go. Flamin' Bob says, UGC, what was your rank in H2? I'm assuming he's talking to you, Joe.
37, 38, 30. Yeah, somewhere between like 38 and somewhere between like 37 and 40. I think really, really late H2, I got to like a 42.
Okay.
But that it wasn't like as impressive as like back in the day. Like in the very beginning, like pre-patch, I was a 19. I was like in the top when the game came out. Like 2 weeks in, I was on the top 25 for head-to-head. I was like one of the first like 16s.
Damn.
It was like setting the pace. Like the top guy was like 18. But yeah, I was up there. I knew what I was doing.
Layout.
Is that for me? I don't know.
I
He's a regular old stock Xbox controller, and I play bumper jumper.
Nice.
I had like 1 or 2 more of these, and then I got to run. I'm getting called.
That's cool. Bothered Hat, I think this is our last question here. He says favorite Halo, which I think we already established.
Mine's Halo 1 for sure. 1, 2, 3, and then the rest don't really matter, I guess.
Yeah. Overall, it's an interesting topic for sure. I mean, just kind of listening to your thoughts on it, it's I feel like every fan has a slightly different idea of what they want to see, but of course, a lot of the audience does want to kind of take it back, bring it back to its roots and what made Halo so kind of incredible and what made it really resonate with a lot of people. I think the simple formula is going to be really important, but just having a complete package for a game and making sure they continue to update it and add content, listen to the community, and we have an ongoing conversation is going to be key for just the success of it, right? Yeah, I think that wraps things for today. Joe, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, man. Always great to come on here and talk to all the Halo fans and talk about, one of the great loves in my life. Follow me on all social media at Joe Fries or at Joe_Fries on Twitter. I post a lot of food and sometimes post
and
selfies and fashion and some stuff about, if you want hair tips, hit me up. I got you. But until next time, it was a great show. Thanks for having me on, and really appreciate it. Hope we could do it again sometime closer to the launch of Infinite.
You coming to Classic, Halo Classic?
Should be there. We'll look out for an announcement on that in the coming weeks for sure.
Right. Hopefully we'll see you there, man. Thank you so much for joining me.
Of course, man. See ya.
All right, guys, that closes our interview with Joe Fries. I know a lot of you guys are waiting in the chat for our Grassroots giveaway. You have to type !Grassroots to be entered into the contest. I think we have our winner. Tony will be sending it over to me. Whenever you got it, Tony. Remember, guys, got !Grassroots in the chat. It's Brand Mudden who wins the BR skin and nameplate. Congratulations, Brand Mudden. I'm sure Tony will find a way to send that over to you in some form of a DM. Thank you guys for joining us on today's episode of HCS Weekly. Of course, we have our merch as well. Feel free to check out the merch. Everything you purchase here not only supports the show, but it supports me as well, and I would highly appreciate that. And that will close our show for today. Thank you guys once again for joining us. We'll be back next week with more news, trick jumps, and interviews in Halo.